join me here in a very, very, very sunny Penzance this morning, and today we'll be looking at the two different types of traction that run into Penzance on Great Western Railway's intercity fleets. So the two types of traction are obviously your Class 43, which have been preferred for a very, very long time, and your IETs, which actually can be bi-mode if you need them to be. They can run on diesel, but they can also run on electric. The electric element to them cannot be used in Penzance, so it runs on diesel, but even still, today we'll be looking at the two different types. Like any train, the Class 43 will be preferred for a long time, but it seems that the train fans are not quite warming up to the new Hitachis. However, they will get used to them at some point, as the Class 43s are slowly rolled away, and the IETs are rolled out more and more. But the thing we need to think about here is the quality of the different trains. As the Class 43 carriages are considerably older, they use Mark IIIs. It was all up to higher standards when they were first implemented into the railway system. The first class is up to much higher standards, as even with the Mark IVs are. But the Azumas are just, not the Azumas, the IETs are considerably poorer quality seats because the national rail system has fallen into shambles over the past few years with the introduction of new trains. The first class section of the train is now being shown. So within the first class section you can see curtains, 2+1 configuration, and a guaranteed table. Also visible is the adjustable headrests and the very wide seating area. Also now being shown is the onboard cafe area, which was closed at the time of recording, so unfortunately we couldn't get ourselves any drinks. But either way, it is still very nice. You can see all the standard safety equipment within the train. Now being shown is the standard class section for the train. There are no adjustable headrests, there is no guaranteed table, and there is no curtains, but all of the standard facilities, including toilets, are still in the train. Now being shown is the cab of the train. So, in this area we have our lighting controls and the windscreen de-icer for the windscreen, obviously. The signalling items to contact the signaller, the brake, the DRA, and several indicators including parking brake buttons and the LED test button, which needs to be tested. The wipers, the TPWS, obviously brakes and that. The driver buzzer, the slow speed, engine start buttons and engine stop buttons, the brake test, reverse and master key, the horn, AWS, throttle, fan speed and cruise control, climate control, vigilance and deadman pedal isolation, also the signalling phone. The train safety systems consist of 2 passenger alarm handles in each saloon area, one on each in each end of the coach, as well as one each in each vestibule area and one in each toilet. These apply the train brakes when pulled. There is also 2 call for aid buttons in coach G, one in the disabled toilets and one in the disabled space within the saloon area. The Class 43 alarm systems consist of a TPWS, the DRA, which applies the train brakes during any set, which reminds the driver of a danger signal aspect up ahead, an AWS, and Dead Man's Device, or DSD. We will shortly be moving on to the new trains, but my overall rating for the Class 43, though I've never rode on one, but from the visions I can see in the film, I would rate it about an 8 in first or standard class. Standard class on the Class 43 HST sets with the Mark IIIs is rather basic with no curtains at all. If you get a seat with the tray table in the airline style, it will unfortunately not have that much leg room. The seats were rather comfortable, however, but the leg room was a complete disappointment. If you get a table seat, I do not think you get a plug socket. There's a lot of table space though, and that's quite nice, and the leg room is also a lot better. In first class, you do get a guaranteed table that does have a plug socket. The seats are very, very, very comfortable, with a small table area in the one seat area. The seats are very comfortable and they do have a padded headrest. If you get a bay of 4, there is a lot more table space, the same amount of plugs. The seats do also recline on these trains. The padded headrest is very nice, and this could be a very pleasant trip. The IETs among train fans have actually been rather hated towards over the past years that they have been in service for.
TPWS and AWS operational.
The trains, like any new thing, aren't going to be preferred for a while yet, but some point people will warm up to them, and if they don't, they will most likely be taken out of service. Standard class on these trains is in a 2+2 configuration, with the basic window blinds that come from above the windows and seat reservation lights. There is also a luggage rack at the end of each coach. There is 3 in the coach with the onboard shop. Unfortunately, the onboard shop was also closed at the time of recording. If it was open, I would have got myself a coffee. Now, there's a lot more to say about first class. First is the fact that it is in the 2+1. Anyway, it's got the same window blinds and the same reservation lights, but the seats are a lot more comfortable with an adjustable headrest. Then there's also a table guaranteed at each seat. As you can see, it's all the same with the luggage racks and all. Going through the carriages, there is also a disabled toilet in one of the first class coaches at the end of the train. You can also see the hygiene standards in the onboard kitchen area where all of the food is prepared. Anyway, if I had to choose between first or standard class, I would most likely choose first class. In standard class on these trains, there is a mix of airline style and table seats. In the airline style seats, there's a lot more legroom than there is on the Mark IIIs, but there's no padded headrest and the seat cushion is quite hard. The tray tables do fold down though, and they can be extended. In a table seat, in any seat actually, there is plugs. The table seats have wireless charging outputs. In first class, however, there is a plug in every single seat, as well as the table. There are no airline-style seats with tray tables. The plug in these areas is located underneath the armrest, and the chair can be reclined. The seat cushion is quite soft, considerably softer than those in standard class, as well as the headrest. There is plenty of table space, and the plugs are underneath the armrests on the left-hand side of your seat if you're in the direction facing the walls at one end of the coach. If you're facing the walls on the other end of the coach, however, they will be on the right-hand side of you. Overall, however, I would prefer to ride an Incity 125, otherwise known as a Class 43 plus Mark 3s. The reason I would like to do this is mainly because I've never been on one before, and I have been on the Hitachis about 50 times. So this video is based on what I have heard, and I have heard many, many great things about the HSTs and many not so great things about the Class 800s. Anyway, that's going to end it off for this video. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to see any future content from me, if you don't subscribe, that's not really going to happen. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.